Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Analyst. This is the video 3 of Python web scraping series. In this video, I will be guiding you how you can scrape data from a live website which is booking.com, and you can include this project in your resume because it's going to be end-to-end project for web scraping which you can include in your resume. So let's go ahead and see what you're going to build in this video. Now, before we proceed, I would like to tell you, even if you have no experience in web scraping, you can just follow along with me and complete this project with my guidance. So let's start the video. So this is the project that you're going to build, and we're going to use BeautifulSoup to scrape data from a website which is called booking.com. So basically we will be scraping data of hotel informations like hotel name, price, rating, and so many other informations. You can see this website is going to ask you the URL. You will be giving the URL and you'll be giving your file name. It is going to scrape the data for you and it's going to save the data in your local drive. So let me just run the function and let me show you how this function is going to work. So we're just going to say run in terminal, and if you see it is asking for the URL. So let's go to Google Chrome and get the URL, right? So this is the URL. Okay, I will just set the date to randomly maybe April 1 and 2. Okay, and select city. So I'm selecting Delhi. You can select any other city, that's going to be fine. So let's select search, and if you see, we are getting all these hotels, right? So what we're going to get is that all the hotels informations like name, star rating, price, and some informations which is necessary important like the URL as well. Okay, so I'll just copy this link and I will just paste this link here. Okay, the first step. Second, I just need to give any name. So I would like to give it call April 1st and 2, right? April 1st and 2. So I will just hit enter, and if you see, thank you for sharing URL, and it has started scraping, and if you see, it has already done the scraping, and we have the data here which is called April 01 and 02. So right click and we can open in Excel to see how the file looks like. Even you can view it in the VS Code as well. So let's go ahead and open it. So if you see, this has scraped the data from the website which is 26 hotels informations, and again we have the hotel name here. So if you see, these are the hotel name, okay, including Taj hotels and other hotels that is available in Delhi. And we have the locations like where the hotel is located. We have the price, what is the hotel price, and we have the ratings as well. And like the overall ratings, we have one more ratings which is kind of the scores. We have the number of reviews, and we have the number of reviews, and then we have this link. Okay, now good thing is that these links are clickable. So if you just click on this link, and you can just copy this link, okay, and you can open in a browser. So let's go ahead and open in a new browser, and you will see that this is going to redirect you to the same website which is called Pride Plaza Hotel, Aerocity, New Delhi. And let's see what was the hotel. So it was this, right? Pride Plaza Hotel, Aerocity, Delhi. Now this is the project you will be doing. In this project you will be using simple library which is called BeautifulSoup, and very simple logical step-by-step approach we will be using in this project to complete this project. Okay, so let's first go to the VS Code and let's write the functions completely from scratch. Okay, now again, the library that you need to install, I will just quickly show you. Let me just create a new file called maybe hw.py, and I will just go to terminal, and my environment is already activated, and I will show you the library that we will need for this project. So we will say pip list, and the library that you need is one is called lxml. So this is the parser. You can use the HTML parser also, but for this project I will suggest you to use this parser. Like when you get the data from website, we need to convert the data into, you can say, a readable format, so we use this parser. Okay, then the most important library which is called BeautifulSoup 4. So this library you need to install. You can simply say pip install BeautifulSoup 4 in the same spelling you can see. So this is the one, and we need one more library which is called request. Okay, so again I'm going to add the command in the video descriptions where you can just copy paste and you can install it. So these are the only three libraries that we need. We need the OS and maybe time and CSV, which I will be directly importing because those are the Python inbuilt library. So let's clear the terminal, and let's go here and let's write a comment call this app scrape data from booking.com, right? This is the website. So we need to give the URL. So let's first write down the instructions, right? What we want these applications to do, right? So again we would give the URL. Okay, URL, and we will give the file path name. When we will be giving the URL, we will already enter the informations like the date and the city you can select, right? So we're going to say give the URL file name. These are the two parameters that we're going to ask from the users when somebody is going to execute the functions. Okay, so these are the main parameters. Okay, so the first thing we would need to do is that we would be giving you a greetings, the users, and that thank you so much for sharing the file, and then we will start the scraping, right? So first we will do a greetings, and then we will start the scraping. Okay, so in scraping, first we need to get the hotel name. Okay, again we can see what are the things important. So I will be getting the hotel name first, then maybe the price, then maybe which is called going to be ratings. Okay, then maybe locations. Okay, like the city where exactly it is located, not the city but the the short locations I would say, and the ratings, and maybe a number of reviews, and the link. Okay, maybe some more informations. Let's go ahead and see first of all how we can get this much of informations. And last we would need to save the file, right? Save the file in a CSV. Okay, so this is what we will be doing step by step to kind of get the data. Now we will be getting multiple errors, so we need to ensure that we are working to see what is causing the error, and then we need to fix it, right? That is how we will be doing this project. You can also mention that I encountered this issue and this is how I fixed it, right? Because we may need to use the replace functions, we may need to use the text functions of, we may need to use a follow up. So all those things we will be using it. And again, so this is what the main functions going to be for this application that we are building. Okay, so let's first we're going to simply start with the importing the libraries like the dependencies, right, which will be outside of the function. So everything we will be keeping inside the functions, and somebody who's going to import this, it's going to like work automatically. Okay, so first let's go ahead and import the dependencies like the library that we need to use these functions. Okay, so I will say import. Now you will be getting this only once you have kind of the install the library that I have shown you earlier, the packages, right? So I'll say import request, because we will be sending request to the website using this request libraries. Okay, so request is like when you go to a website, you first send the request, and then you get the data, and then you see it, right? So we will be using request to send the request. Okay, this is the one thing. And the second thing we will need, which is called from bs4, so import BeautifulSoup. So bs4 that we have installed, so you need to write this way from bs4 import BeautifulSoup, because they may have more modules. We are just interested to see this module which is called BeautifulSoup, because we're going to use this module to kind of scrape the data. That's it. Okay, now request, we are using request to send the request and get the response. Request is going to get us the response, and then we convert the responses into HTML file, and then we store that into BeautifulSoup soup, and then we look for the elements, HTML elements and tags using the help of tags and attributes, and then we store the data. This is what the project is going to be. Okay, so now when you do scraping the real website, there are something that you need to aware of, which is called user agent. Like you cannot send the request to the website, they may block your IP address. So like when you go to a website, you browse using a browser, right? So when you use a browser, it simply tells that okay, you are browsing from a Google Chrome. We're going to mimic them using some browser that they would know, okay, it is exploring, somebody is exploring from the browser. And also you need to ensure that you're not sending too many requests in just few seconds, then your IP address is going to be blocked for a few days. Okay, so for that I will be adding something called user agent later on. So first let's go ahead and first send the request. Okay, so again for that we will see first if we are getting successful request, that's great. If we are not getting the request, then we're going to add the user agent. So first of all we are going to say again, for first let's start with the text URL. Okay, so I'll say URL. Okay, text, though we're going to take the URL later on, but just to build the functions we will be using the URL. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the URL. So the URL is going to be, maybe I'll be starting with the April 1 to 2. Okay, April 1 to 2. So April 1 to 2. Again, whenever you are watching this video, you can just select any date, maybe May, June, whenever you're watching, just a future date, so that you can see some hotels, right? New Delhi, April, and we will say search. Okay, now this is the link that we are looking for. So copy just this link once the link is loaded, and you can go to VS Code and just paste the link here. Okay, so why I'm pasting this link, because from this link we will be doing some testing to ensure everything is working smoothly. Then we're going to implement in a function so that we will remove the link. Okay, so we got the link. Let's go ahead and send a request to see if we are getting the corrections, if we're getting the connections or not. Okay, so for that I will simply go ahead and use a request. So it's a request dot get, and here I will pass this link. Okay, and so here along with this we need to pass the browser informations, which is called header, and there's a parameters called headers. Inside this headers we need to tell which browsers we are browsing from. Now again, for this there's a website from where you can get all the browser information. So for that you just need to go to browsers like Google Chrome and just type know your user agent. You just need to type it, know your user agent, and you will see this website which is called whatismybrowser.com, and just copy this informations, which is I will be adding in the code as well. So this is the default one. This works for everyone, and it has informations about Mozilla and other browsers. You don't know exactly what it is, but you just need to get this informations. So this is how they will know, okay, you are using a browser and you are accessing their website. Okay, again, so let's go ahead and create a variables which is a dict. So we will be able to pass as a dict. So you need to create a dict, and I can name it called header, or you can name it anything that you want. And in the dict you need to give a key and this the browser information. So the key should be user in the same format. Okay, user agent, so u capital dash then agent. Okay, then we will be passing the information that we just copied as a string. Okay, so this informations, which is the user agent informations, we are storing in this key, and it's a dict. If you see, I have created dict and we are storing this, and this one I can pass it here. Okay, not as a string, but this way. Okay, so this is where it is going to just get the response. It's not going to get you the data. So we can save the response variable. Okay, and then we can check what is the response code. If the response code is 200, that means you have successfully connected to the website. If the code is not 200, that means there is something wrong with this user agent or something else. Then you need to kind of look for other different maybe parameters. Okay, so for me it's going to work because I know this user agent is correct. So sometimes you can remove the user agent, you can add some other parameters as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and first of all see what is the response code. So we can just simply go ahead and say that response code, which is called response. Okay, we can say simply dot status. Okay, we call it a status code. Okay, and this is going to give you the status code. Okay, so we can just print it. Let's see what is the status code we get. And if in case the connections goes well, you will be getting the status code as a 200. Okay, so let's wait. And if you see, I am getting a status code as a 200. That means I have successfully connected to the website. Okay, so the first step is done. Now what I will do is that I will be just creating a if else logic, and I will say if, and I will say this response dot status code equals 200. If this is 200, then we will start the web scraping, right? Then I can just print a message call. Okay, I can simply say, oops, I can say print connections. We can say that connected to the website. Okay, or we can say connection successful, whatever you want to say. Okay, and otherwise we can just add a else logic, and we can say else, and we can say unable to, we can just print a message call connections failed. Okay, and you can even include the response code here if you want. So I can just go ahead and show you using F format. You can just include the response code to the user, so user would see, okay, what went wrong. If there's a response code other than 200, this is how it's going to kind of show it here. Okay, so very simple. So far we have not done anything, so we have just got the response. And once you get the response, next what you need to do is that you need to save the response. Okay, because when you get the response, I will just show you how the response looks like. So let's go ahead and put it here, and I will just print it in terminal to show you. Okay, so you are going to see connected, and the response code is like this, which is 200 right now. Okay, now if you do not see the informations, but you just need to use .txt. Okay, and if you now see it, it's going to give you a large HTML file. Okay, so if you see, this is the file. Okay, again we're not able to understand what is going on, so again this is the file. From this file we will just get this information, like the important information that we need, like the text. Okay, So what we are going to do is that instead of printing it here, I will just create a variable called html content. Okay, so html dash content, and I'm going to save this response dot text. Okay, now if you just save the response, it's not going to work because the response just have the 200, right? So what I will do is that I will just ignore this print for now, and I have this html content ready. Now from this html content, I will be doing scraping using beautiful soup. So first of all, we're going to parse the data from this html content into the beautiful soup, and then we're going to use find to find the different tags using html tag and attributes. Okay, let's first go ahead and create a soup, which is a beautiful soup, a library that we have just imported. And soup is going to basically create a soup using this html content, and that soup is going to help us to find the elements, html elements, from this entire html content. So this is the soup, this is the job soup is going to do. Okay, so again, let's say that creating soup. Okay, so again, very simple, you can just name it called soup, or you can give any name, that's really okay. And I will just say that here call beautiful soup, and I just need to pass this html content, and I need to pass a parser. So here you can say html.parser, or you can use lxml. Okay, now I need to make sure this lxml is imported. So if you have not imported lxml here, so just go ahead and say import lxml. Okay, so this is a parser, like this is, you can see the converter, which is going to convert this large file that you have seen earlier, like this file, into maybe a readable content. Okay, so by the beautiful soup, and then we will start looking by ourselves like what we are looking for. Okay, so this is done. So let's go ahead and see next what we want to do. So once it is done, we can just print the result to see how the output looks like. Okay, so I can simply say soup and print, and I can just say prettify. So it's just going to kind of prettify the output, and maybe a little bit a readable format, you will see the result. Okay, so I will just go ahead and see, and all these things happens only if the connection code is kind of 200. Okay, so let's go ahead and run in terminal, and let's see the data. Okay, so if you see right now, it is much better format. Okay, like this, if you see, right, it is still a better format, which is which was not that much in earlier, right, without using the beautiful. So if you see, the link is readable. Okay, we have some informations, again, 1 rooms, 2 rooms, adult, right? So if you see, things are readable. So from here we will simply use find, and we're going to find whatever we're looking for. Okay, so far it is very simple. I hope you have completed till here. If you are getting any issues, so just make sure that you have added this user as in correctly, and if you have done things correctly till here, it's going to definitely work, until unless that website has already blocked your url. Okay, the ip address. So this is done. Let's go ahead and let's see next what we want. Okay, so once this is done, we would be wanting to see some information. So okay, let's go to the website and let's see what we are looking for. Okay, so this is the site, which will be 1 April to, I think this is the site, right, which has the informations 1 April to 2nd April. So let me just close all this rest of the things. Okay, now again, I will just right click and click on inspect. Okay, so let's say first what we want is that we want to see this, the hotel name. Okay, so again, before we go to the scrapping, we would need to understand some of the things like the html content, how you access different html elements. Okay, so first of all, if you see each hotel that you see it here, like hotel name, this reviews and everything, like this price, this, all these informations are stored in a container. Okay, which is called divisions. Like if you see this divisions, this is storing this entire website. Okay, so if you want to see for a specific, you can click on this icon. Okay, and if you just click on this, maybe just this outside. Okay, if you see, this is the one container which has all these things that you see in the first containers. Okay, if you same way click here, you will see this is the second containers. Okay, now we would just click on hide this. Okay, let me just hide this. So let's go ahead and see this one. Okay, this container has informations, and how do you know this container? So if you just click here, if you see, you have this container informations, which is like this. Okay, same way, if you see the name, it's called dib, which is full form of divisions, and it says in data test title property card. Okay, and if you see, the next container is this. See, as soon as I'm clicking next, hovering next container, it's kind of going to the next, right? So let's kind of scroll it down. So we just need to find out some similar pattern. Okay, so just ignore the advertise one. So let's go ahead and see this one. This container is this one. This container, where is it in the next containers? Okay, so let's minimize it. Okay, let's go to this containers is called this one. Okay, this one is this one. If you go to this one, this one is this one, right? So if you see, as soon as I'm hovering, it is kind of changing the container to container, right? So now why I'm showing you, there is a reason. Okay, because we need to identify all the containers, similar container, because you cannot directly look for the entire website something. Okay, so we would need to look for inside each containers, and then we would be able to get the proper data. Okay, so I usually prefer to kind of get the proper container, and then I look for each containers separately using maybe a for loop or a different techniques, which I'm going to explain in some time. So right now we can see that, okay, all the containers name should seems to be like this, which is called list. Let's go ahead and see it here. Okay, so if you see, this is the container, right? And the container names like it's starting with a div and data test id property card and role item list. Okay, so this is the entire html tag that you see. If you go inside, and you will have everything. Okay, like if you go inside here, if you see that this time the image is being selected. If you go more inside, you will have some other element that is being selected. If you go more inside, you will see something else like that. This is the link. Okay, so we will be scrapping this link as well, which is part of a and href. So a attributes and href is holding the link. Okay, same way, if you go here, you may have something else. If you go here, you may have something else. Okay, so if you go here, you may have something else. If you go here, you may have something else. And you can just go more and more, but again, you don't have to go this way. All you just need to know the containers, and I will show you the easy way to kind of scrap the data. Now why we're doing it, because we would want to capture as many edge informations from this containers. Okay, then we will be doing it from this containers. Why we will do scrapping, right? So maybe if you have another website, maybe you are working for another company, and they would want to know how many hotels are there for they're listed in the bookings.com, right? So they may contact the owner of those hotels so that they can add those hotels in their platform, or they may already have those hotels in their platform. They would want to see how booking.com is pricing those hotels, right? So maybe they would increase or decrease the price, or whatever they want to do, right? They would also want to see how the ratings are. So maybe they would increase. I mean, they may kind of do something so that their platform looks much better than this website, right? The competitor website. Okay, so this could be one of the reason that somebody would do scrapping, right? So again, let's go ahead and see how we are going to get the informations, right? So let's again go ahead and get the container's name. So the container name was this, which is called deep and property card and this, right? So I will just go ahead and maybe copy one of the information. So again, I would need first go to VS Code. So let's go ahead and create a variable called hotel, and call maybe first let's try to say hotel dips. Okay, now I will say how we are going to find it, right? So everything that you have seen in that HTML file, that is stored in the soup. So you just need to say soup, and you can say find. Okay, now we are going to just use find right now, just find, and I will explain find and find all. Okay, so find is just going to find once, and then it's going to stop. Okay, so we're going to say what we're looking for is that this div and this data and the property role. So you can use these combinations together to kind of find this entire containers. Okay, and the data test, now again, you cannot use this in data test because it has a dash, so you need to use something else. You can use this one, role and list item. So okay, this is what we can use as a combinations. Use it here. So I will say role. Okay, and the items. Okay, so here you cannot pass the key as a string, so that's going to cause the issue. Now if in case the key is something like this, right, so obviously you need to pass it as a string, but that combination is not going to work. Okay, so because we need to say this combinations and this combinations what we're looking for. And now let's go ahead and see if I get the container informations here. Okay, so let's wait. Okay, perfect. So if you see right now, I am getting a lot of things, so that means this function is working, correct? If you see here, I just need to look for the right things here. Okay, so this is what you see. Okay, it seems to be it's returning a lot of things. So it's a very popular tag, which is called div and a role list items. Okay, because this container has everything that you see in this view page. Okay, now I'll be using div all, right? So I will be using all the containers with the same name. It's called div and the role list items. So if you see any kind of any containers that has the same thing, div divisions role items. Okay, if you see any containers. Okay, so divisions role items. Okay, so based on these combinations, I would be creating different containers, and in each container I have the informations like all these informations. that I have it here, and inside this container I am going to access everything individually. Okay, so for that I will be simply go ahead and use this, which is here called, instead of find I will say find all. So when you use a find, it is just going to give you one containers, and it is going to kind of stop it there. When you use a find all, it is going to find all the containers, and it's going to return you list of item as a list, like each container as a list. Then if you want to scroll through each of the list, then you need to use a for loop to kind of access each items, and then you can do whatever you want to do. Okay, so easily what I will do is that I will simply go ahead and say find all. Okay, and again now I will need to use a for loop to kind of show you the data how it looks like. So I can simply go ahead and say, okay, this is my main div. Okay, this is my main container, so I will say main container which has all the information. So I can simply say here I'm going to use a for loop to kind of access each elements in every iteration. So I would say for so let me just say here for, and I would give you a name called hotel. So hotel is going to hold, each hotel is going to hold kind of each container informations, right? So I would say hotel in, and this which is called this. Okay, now I will simply go ahead and say dash. Here I would say simply hotel dot find. Okay, now for the hotel, for the first hotel, it's going to first find the information. Now I'm going to say hotel dot find, and here I would just try to find the hotel name. Okay, so let's go and let me just close this Excel file. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of first of all get this hotel name what I am interested in. So I will just select this, just click this. Okay, select this, and you just need to get the class here. Okay, so you just need to get the HTML tag here that is holding this hotel name. Okay, so what I can see is that I can simply use this, which is this class which is called div, and the class which is this. Okay, so this is going to give me the data I think, and I can use this div. If in case it doesn't work, then I can try with something else. So I'm saying, hey, what I'm trying to look for is kind of div, and the class is this. Now class is a Python modules, so you cannot directly use it, so you can add an underscore to kind of distinguish it with the Python modules. Okay, now this is going to return me the hotel name if in case the text works well. And what we will be doing is that first of all we're using it in the for loop. Okay, because it is holding all the containers one by one as a list. Okay, in the list as a different items. So we're saying hotel dot in hotels, and I'm not just printing the hotel because the hotel is going to print everything in each containers, but from the hotel I'm saying find, and find me just this. I'm just going to print this. Okay, so I would just name it call hotel name. Let's first verify it if in case it is getting the hotel name, and I'm storing it in in this hotel name, and I can simply go ahead and print it. So I need to print it inside this for loop. So it's going to return me all the hotel name. I will just add an empty line. Okay, just to kind of distinguish each hotel names. Okay, so let's right click and run in terminal, and if you see I am getting all the hotels name here, but the data is still not readable. So if you see, it's just returning HTML kind of line of code, right? But if you see, it is start from div and it's closing at div, and it has a class, it has this, but what we are looking for is this hotel name, and I have the hotel name, correct? So this works fine. So what I will do is that now I will simply go ahead and convert it into a text. So for that it's very easy. You can simply go ahead and say here call, maybe here at the end call text. Okay, and you can also say strip. It's also going to remove the initial and the at the end kind of the extra space, the leading and trailing space. Okay, so let's run it, and if you see right now the hotel names are super clean, right? We are getting all the hotels name here starting from this and then kind of this. Okay, so every time you run it, maybe the name will change because the website gives different, based on the different search, the different hotels name. So that is totally possible. Okay, now let's go ahead and see the next things what we need, right? So we got the hotel name. Okay, and which is perfect. So next we would be needing something else. So I would just go ahead and say after the hotel name I would want to see maybe the price, right? So that's I think the main goal. So maybe this location, which is this New Delhi that you see. Okay, and we can get these locations because some hotel may have different locations like this. Okay, so we're going to get this new locations. So it tells like the street or maybe the area or maybe the locations, the city. Okay, so click this icon and you can just click this, Okay, and if you see, it's passed of this class which is called span, and this, right? So span this class, and this is holding this New Delhi. Okay, because I'm just accessing inside this containers, so there is a very possibility that I will be able to kind of get this city. But if you directly search this in the entire containers, you may not get the, all the city properly. Okay, so we're going to just copy this, and I will go ahead and say what I'm looking for is the location variable, and I would say hotel. So everything is in the first containers hotel. I would say fine. What I'm looking for is, this time the tag is going to be span. Okay, and the class that I see is going to be this class which is ending with 1 4 or 2. So we can try with this one. If in case it doesn't work, then we can look for something else, but I think this is only the class we have. Let's try. Okay, so let's copy it and say that okay, I am looking in these combinations. Okay, and I will do the same formatting here at the end. Okay, so, and I would just print this instead of hotel name, I will print it. And let's go ahead and see if in case we're getting this locations. Okay, okay, we're getting the locations perfect. Okay, so we got the hotel locations, and let's go ahead and see the next thing that we are interested. That is going to be the price, definitely. So again, you can click on this icon and click on this price, and if you see, this price seems to be, which is here, I think, right? And this is a part of this span, and the class is not visible, but again I can just extend it to see which class is holding this price, right? So if you see, this is part of the span, and this is part of this class. I think we can use in this class, so I can just copy it. Unless if in case it doesn't work, then we can try with this outsider class, which is going to be div and this, right? So again, let's go ahead and say what we are looking for now is the price. Okay, so we're going to just call it price and hotel dot find. So I hope your this concept is clear. So why I'm saying hotel dot find, because as I said, this hotel is going to kind of iterate through each of the items that I have. Right now, from the hotel I don't need everything. Otherwise, if I do not select this specific thing, if I just say hotel, it's going to just give me the entire elements, and then it's going to go to the second iteration, like second containers, going to get everything. But I'm just saying, hey, from this I'm just looking for this, and this is what, this is what is kind of making by the beautiful soup that we have kind of used, right? So we're saying price equals hotel dot find, and what we're looking for is kind of span class, I think it was, and this is the class it was, right? So again, I will just use this strip and everything, and I will just print the price as well along with this. Okay, so let's say print and the price. Okay, let's go ahead and see if in case we get the price, and I will also include the hotel name as well in another print. So I will say print. Okay, now you need to understand here whatever we're doing in the one iterations. I get the hotel name, then location, then price, then it goes to the second iterations. Okay, in the second iteration I'm just adding an empty line just to ensure you will see empty line like this. Okay, so this is how you know, okay, it is the second iterations. Okay, so let's click on the run in terminal, and let's see if we are getting the price. Okay, cool. So if you see, we are getting the price which is like this, right? So rupees sign, some space, and then this dollars. Okay, we can deal with it, because this is going to definitely create an issue. So we can remove this rupees sign and this empty space. So for that, if you see, we are getting the data as a string. Okay, so after this text this strip, I can simply go ahead and say dot replace, and what I'm looking for is this rupees sign and this, and if in case it is found, then I want to replace with the empty, because I converted the data into text, and I removed this extra additional space, and I can use this replace because it's a text right now, it's a string. Okay, and this is a string functions, the replace functions which I've used. Okay, so this is fine. Now if I just go ahead and run it, and you will see that it's a super clean the data that we will have. It did not work so far. Maybe we can check where I have used replace dot text. Okay, something. Okay, find this, and yeah, it seems to be, but it did not work due to some reason. Again, we can see why it did not work, maybe later on. Okay, so I will just keep it for now. Okay, so maybe it did not recognize or something. Okay, yeah, maybe that there could be some reason. We will check it later on. Okay, we will deal with it later on. So price is done. Let's go ahead and see what else we want. So next we would like to have this, which is going to be this that you see good, and some hotel have maybe good, fabulous. Okay, so this is what I will be getting, and this rating 8.08 or 7.2, whatever it is, I will be getting. Okay, so let's click on it, and let's click on this good. And if you see, this is part of this class. Okay, this is part of this class, and this has I guess subclass which is called this good. Okay, so this will be this class which is ending with div and this, right? So we can just copy this along with div, and I can say this is going to be, I think, rating. So I will say rating, oops, hotel dot find, and I will be using, I think it's a divisions attributes, I think it's a division tag, and this is the class. Okay, let's go ahead and again use this text and strip to remove the extra space, and let's print it. Okay, let's see if I'm getting this rating. So I will just go ahead and say, see, printing is very important because this is how you know, okay, nothing is going wrong, right? So if something is going wrong, you can fix it at the same time, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for identify and fixing it. So let's go and let's say it did not work. So I think it did not convert it properly. We did use okay, sometime you will be getting error something like this, which is common. So just wait for 30 seconds and then try it again. Okay, so if you see right now, I got it good, and I got it very good. Okay, so I got the informations along with this, right? So this is my one iteration, then this is my second iteration, so I'm getting everything properly. This is perfect. Okay, next what I need is just this rating, and I will be getting the review, the link. Okay, and this is what I need, so I will select it and click on this, and let's see where it is stored. So I think this is part of this container. Yes, so it has something called a score and 7.2. So I'm just interested to see maybe score 7.2 or just the 7.2. So I will show you how you can get just the 7.2. So let's copy this class, and it's part of div and this. So we will go ahead and say this is a score, right? So we will go ahead and say score variable which I'm creating. Again, I will be using hotel dot find, and this is a part of division tag, and the class is going to be this. Okay, I will be using the same formatting which is like this. So I will just say okay, cool, and I will just print the score as well right now. So print score. Okay, cool. So we have got the hotel name, location, price, rating, and score. So we have got 5 things. Okay, let's go ahead and see what else we need. So I hope I'm going to get the scores. Okay, if you see I'm getting the scores, but the twice, right? I'm getting double scores like this as well, this as well. So this as well, right? So we're getting double scores. What I will be doing is that I think I'm just need to access this one elements. Okay, I don't want to access these things. So what I can do is that I can, as this is a string, is this is converted into a single string, so I can convert into a list using this space as a kind of delimiters, and then I can access the last elements, last items, which is going to be -1. Okay, so it's going to be a smart move. What we will be doing is that we're going to just say that to convert it, you can say split. Okay, split, and we want to split it using space, and once you split it, we can access the -1 elements, and this is how it's going to convert it back to a string again. So let me just show you. Okay, so you will see that right now it's going to get me just this score 6.8, 8.9. Okay, so very simple. What I have done is that I have simply converted, you know, this string into kind of the list, and then access the last element. Let me just explain this with an example, because this is a very interesting concept. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new file which is called test.py. okay, so let's say I'm just going to say, okay, let's create a string called s. Okay, and let's have a data like something called $25. Okay, and we have $25, and let's say name is called apple, and let's say call quantity, that is going to be kind of 2 quantity left, 3 quantity left. Okay, and the store name is called store a. Okay, so if you see, this is a single string right now I have, right? If I just go ahead and print it, you will be getting just this string. Okay, if you see, let's kind of say print in terminal. Okay, so where is it? Let me just clear this. Okay, okay, I was getting it right, I didn't see it. So if you see I'm getting this, right? So it's a one string, but if you see there's a delimiters that I have. Again, it can be any, you can use any delimiters. You can just divide it, split it by 3. You can use this a whatever delimiters you want to use it, whatever you think it's going to make sense, because you just need to access this store, let's say. Okay, so what do you want to access this? Okay, so you can just say the delimiter is kind of this dash, and then you can access the first item. So when I convert it using this dash, it's going to be first item, the second item, 3 is going to be 4 item, and this is going to be my 5 items. So I'm just interested to see this, the last items. Okay, so what I just need to do is that I will simply go ahead and say here call in the print dot split. Okay, and I will say the delimiter is called dash. Okay, so oops, let me just, yeah, delimiter is dash. So again, let me just do it outside. Okay, so split delimiter is dash, and once this is done, let's see what actually happens. Okay, so I will just go ahead and say s1. I'm just giving a list name called s list. Okay, so s underscore list, this is the name I have given, and if you see, this will return me as a list. I will have all the items as a list, okay, inside one list. So if you see right now, where is it? So okay, it did not work because I have given it as a string, so I just need to give it as a list. Oops. Okay, so if you see, in one list I have all the items separated by comma. One list, first item, second item, third item, fourth item. Right now, if I just want to access this, I can simply go ahead and say here call -1, right? So I can just do it here also. So I can say I'm just looking for -1 because I'm just looking for the last items, which is going to be store 1. If I just the first item like this, then I can simply say 0, because 0 is the first index, right? If you run it, you see $25. So this is the same approach what I have used, which is called string to list conversions using split, and then we are just kind of using this indexing in, which is a list functions, to access the one of the items. Okay, so I hope this makes sense, and if you feel this video is being helpful, so go ahead and hit the like button and share your thought in the comment box. If you want to ask any doubts, so you can ask in the comment sections. Okay, so this is the scores, and score is done. We got the scores, and let's say what else we need. Now we would need, okay, so next we're going to get this total review, so which is going to be this total review that you see. Okay, so again, this is I think part of this, so I can just use this class and this to access it. So we will go ahead and say review and hotel dot find. Again, this is not that much important, but again, I have just included in the previous when I created it, so I'm just including it. So whatever you feel important, and if you feel it is important for the projects, you can include that. Okay, it's not mandatory here, right? So we got the reviews, and because this is how it's going to show, okay, how many reviews are there. More reviews, that means it's very popular, so that means we should be tying up with that hotel, right? So let's go ahead and say a review, and I print it, and I need to make sure that it's a text. So again, I will just go ahead and kind of ensure all these extra things are being deleted. So let's go ahead and run it. So again, we got the reviews, and I don't think I am able to see the reviews. So good, and this course I can see it. Very good. Okay, I don't see the review, right? So something is going wrong. So that means the class I'm using it, it's not giving me the review, right? So I'm using it, this class, which is called this 47 and this, right? I think I'm getting it, but I did not print it, right? So the issue is that I did not print it properly. Okay, so let's run it now. So let's check. Okay, getting some error, so let me just run it again. Okay, so if you see, we are getting the reviews, which is this many reviews, this many reviews, right? So I will just keep it like 266 reviews. If I want to kind of just remove this, I can simply again use split by dash, and then I can access the 0th index items of the list, and this is how I will be able to kind of deal with it, right? Again, you have got the idea, so I just wanted to show you the idea. Okay, so everything is done. I just need to access the URL. That's going to be the last thing. So again, to access the URL, so I think it's going to be very easy, because it's going to be mostly used store in the a attributes. But again, you can click on this name, because when you click on the name, you get the URL. Okay, so it is little different how you access the URL. So if you see, this is a store inside this a, which is a attribute. Okay, so what I will do is that I will just need to see that okay, it is stored in the A. Majorly you will see it is stored in the A in every containers. Okay, so we're going to just use these combinations. Now it's, as I said, it's a little different, so you just need to say A and then href equals true. That's it. And then when you will be accessing it, you just need to say href to access it or get, something like this. I will show you both approach. Okay, so let's say getting the link. Okay, so again we are using for loop, so every iterations we get one link, and then we can store it using CSV, which I'm going to show you at the end of this video. Okay, so let's go ahead and say link, which I will be naming it, and I will say hotel dot find, and what we're looking for is going to be a attributes, and we're going to say href equals true. Okay, so that means in href we are getting the URL. Okay, and then here you just need to say get, and you can say what I'm looking for is it's going to return a dictionary like key and pair, so you can directly use get, or you can simply go ahead and say href. That's it. So here even if you say href, that's going to work. Okay, now this is one way. Let's go ahead and say that you don't have to convert it into text because the link is already in kind of text. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you. So I will say print link. Okay, so let's see if in case we are going to get the link. So this is majorly same for any web scraping that you are doing. You will be having the link in the same approach. So we're getting error again. I will just run it again, so it should work fine because I don't think there is any error. Okay, we have some issues with the okay, sometime it's kind of throw an error. So again, that's okay. Hotel.find a href true, get href. Yeah, this is fine where it is showing error. I don't think there's any error, so I was getting the URL. Okay, I think it is returning the URL because if you see on the top, it is giving the URL. Okay, yeah. Okay, if you see, this is the URL, right? For every hotel we get the URL, one empty space, that means it's the second iterations we got the hotel. Okay, this is the last hotel, and if you see every hotel we got the link. Right now, interesting thing is that if you click on this link, just press the command and click, and you can open this link, and or you can just copy this link, go to this browser new link, and you will see that that link is accessible and you are getting that hotel. Now the fantastic thing is that you can kind of send a request to each of this URL, and you can get whatever informations you want to access. You can download this image, which I will maybe explain in the next video. You can get this more informations about this hotel. You can get this all this facility that they have in this hotel. So for that you need to kind of again send multiple requests, and you need to make sure that there are some delays between each request, because one request is going to be sent into each link, so it's going to be more requests, and there is a high chance that it's going to block your kind of IP address. Okay, so again, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to definitely come up with some more videos, and this is a very demanding skills in Python, so you should definitely know. Again, the way you would be knowing it is that more web scraping you do, and more you will be dealing with problems, and more you will be learning. Okay, you can learn again, you can again get this different room in informations and the facilities and the price, right? More customized way for each each hotels, right? Again, this would be, I think, a great idea, but maybe in next video I will explain. Okay, so let's go and let's now go ahead and create a CSV file and then store this data. Then we're going to convert this into a dynamic functions. Okay, so let's go, and I think everything is done. Let's go ahead and open a CSV file. Now to open a CSV file, you need to go outside this for loop, because if you see in this for loop, in one iterations we get the hotel name, then we get the hotel locations, then we get the hotel price, right? Then we get the hotel rating, then we get the score. Okay, and this link. Okay, so I think everything is done here. Again, you can just check, make sure everything is same as it is mine. Okay, I'm also going to add the code, but maybe this code will change by the time when you are watching, so make sure you are using the right tag that you see in your screen. Even it depends your IP address where you are accessing, maybe these things would little different, but as I said, you need to use the same approach. Okay, so everything seems to be fine so far. I don't see any unwanted things. So next what we need to do is that we need to open a CSV file, which is part of file handling, and then we are just going to store the data, and then we're going to close the file. So there is the way you can open the file using open and with close, and with close is going to take care of closing the file. So you need to make sure the file is being opened outside the for loop, because if you open it here, it's going to open it in one iteration, the data is going to be saved, and then it's going to be closed, and then it's going to be open, so it's going to be complicated. So what you do is that we open it here. Okay, So how you open it, you can simply say with is going to take care of closing the file, because when you open a file, the Python is going to make a connections to the file. You need to make sure that is open, otherwise it's going to eat up your system resources, the RAM. Okay, so we say open, and here we want to give a name. So I will just give a name for now. I will change, make it dynamic, but I will say name call booking. And what is it, not the booking but hotels. Okay, hotel dot csv. Okay, so this is the hotel desk, hotel data. Okay, hotel data dot csv. You need to make sure this extension is given, because based on this only it's going to understand what type of file you are kind of creating or opening. So to open also use the same approach, but I will say, going to say the mode is going to be w. That means we are just writing the file, not opening the file. And I'm going to say as a file dot csv. You can give any name, because we will be using this name. This name is going to hold the connections with this file. Okay, so now I need to make sure the csv is imported. I did not, so I would say import csv, otherwise it's not going to work. So far it is good. You just need to use the colon sign here, and here you need to simply say csv dot writer. This is part how you create a csv file. So if you have not gone through my Python series, go through the Python series, go through the video 6 or 7. You will be learning the Python file handling, very important part. I'm going to say csv dot writers, and I will just need to pass this name here. Okay, this is done. I would just need to open a header. So everything must be inside this with close, because if I go outside, it's going to close this file, and if it is closed, you cannot store the data. So what I will do is that I will say adding header. How you pass the informations using this is a holding the connection. So I can store this in a variable called a writer, or you can name it anything that you want. I would prefer writer, because this is the default one. I mean, this is the standard one. So it's a writer dot write rows. Okay, write row to store one row. If you want to store multiple row, then you can say write a rows. Okay, so and you pass the information as a list. Okay, in the list different items. Okay, not multiple list but one list. Okay, so here again you can pass a multiple list, but you need to say rows instead of row. Okay, so let's get the column name, because this is the header. So I will just the column name. Now if you see the difference between this and if I add a here is going to be, this is happening before the for loop. So it's outside the for loop. So first I'm entering the headers, and then I will store all this data. I will show you how. So again, this is going to be a string. So I will say hotel name, and then I can give which is called locality, something like better name locality. Okay, and I would just go ahead and give it call the price, which is going to be this. And then I would go ahead and say call what I'm looking for is kind of rating. So I will just go ahead and say rating, and then I will go ahead and say what else I'm looking for is going to be score. So I will say score, and I need this review. So I will go ahead and say review. Too many columns, right? So again, you can give it outside as well if you want to give it outside. And then I have link. Okay, so let's get the link. You can create a list outside, and you can just pass the list here. That's also it's going to work. So I'm going to just say this link, but as a text. Okay, as a string. So everything is done. I have given the name. Now I just need to do some of the changes. Okay, so this is going to add the headers. Now importantly, you need to ensure that this for loop is inside this, otherwise it's not going to kind of work, because as soon as this with close see another code, it's going to close the file, so you cannot store the data. So we just need to select everything from here to here, not the print sections, because we do not want to print in the actual result. And now it's inside this. Okay, with clause, if you see this with clause is this, and inside this. So I can just delete this. Okay, so everything is inside the with clause, everything is perfect. So right now we are going to save the data here. Okay, so here what I will do is that I will save the data. How you save is very simple. So you can go ahead and say add a command called saving the file into csv. Okay, and you just need to say again same thing, writer dot write row. We're seeing one row. Why? Because we are passing the list here. Okay, so I would just go ahead and pass the data as a list, and in this list I am just passing the hotel name. So in this list I'm just passing the hotel name, because the hotel name is only holding one hotel name at a time. Okay, in this next iterations it's going to kind of hold the second hotel name. So every iterations this writer row is going to write the row. In every iterations it write the row, and that's the reason in every iterations it get the new hotel name and the location price for that hotel name, but because we build the logic that way. Okay, so you give it a hotel name here, and we don't give it as a string because we want to get this hotel name that is stored in the variable. Okay, this is the hotel name, and then I give it called locations, which is the locality variable, and then I give this next, which is going to be my price, and then I give it call a rating. So this is my next variable, then I give it call a score. Okay, this is my next, then I give it call link. Okay, this is my next, then I give it call, yeah, I think done. 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So how many we have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right? I missed one, so I need to check which one. So I got the link, I got the review. No, I did not got the review, so I need to get the review here. Okay, let's go and let's run it in terminal again. Okay, we are getting the issue again with the rating, so we can cross check with the rating if something is going wrong, or is there any other way we can get the data. Okay, so let's see how many hotels we got 12 hotel, so seems like the rating is causing issues. Okay, so let me just go ahead and verify what you have in the rating. Okay, so rating is, I think this is the rating what you have, right? If I'm not wrong. So this, let's see what is this rating, right? So rating is this, then we have a score. Okay, so rating is basically this one, good bad, right? So we select this, and we can select this. Okay, let's explore one of the rating from here. This is the rating. Okay, because it's possible that not all the hotels have ratings, so maybe I'm thinking that is causing the issue. So let's use with this class. Okay, and then we will have this one as well. Let's see if I can access using this class in the rating. So rating, and I would say okay, find this. Okay, let's see what it does return, then we're going to check. So rating.text.strip, so let's run it. Okay, line 3, we're still having issues with the rating, and we're still getting 9. Okay, okay, let's do one thing. In the rating, I'm just going to remove this strip. Okay, and this text function as well, I am going to remove it, and let's run it again. Okay, so right now it is scrap successfully done. Okay, so let's see what we got in this data, right? So in the rating, I'm expecting we will have unformatted ratings. So we got 26 hotels, which is expected because you'll be getting 27 or 26 hotels. So here I have the data like this. Okay, so again, so deep class, let's see what we have it here. Okay, and then okay, so this is giving really you can say a big data, so we are just interested to get this 7.9. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete it and use this. Okay, so I have just changed the rating, let me just try again. Okay, so this is done perfectly, and rating is formatted. Okay, let's check. Okay, so the rating is done. This is the very good, this is the rating. Okay, so let's see what I have done here. I am just using this rating, the class is the main class, which is ccb. Okay, and hotel.find class ccb, so we are using this rating. So this is the rating that I am using, which is ccb. Okay, so this is the rating I am using. So I'm using this rating which is called CCP. Okay, let me just go ahead and kind of enter it again to show you. Okay, we just put dash here. Let me delete this. Okay, and let me save it and let me run it again. Okay, so if you see right now it scraped successfully without any issue, and we got the hotel informations. So we got 26 hotels with all the informations. Okay, now here is one problem I see. If I open this file in finders and Excel, you will see that there is some formatting issues with this price. Okay, so this is kind of I can say encoding errors. So we need to deal with it, right? So we can deal with in Excel as well also, but we can deal with in Python as well. So this is what I did replace earlier. It did not fix the issue. So right now let's go ahead and see how we can do it. So this is I want to replace this part. Okay, this rupees sign until this one space I want to replace in the price. Okay, so let's go to the price. That's going to be, where is it? So it's the price here. Okay, and here after this text I just want to replace it. Just not going to use this strip for now. Oops, where is it? So the price after this tag I'm just going to use the replace. Let's just remove this strip and let's just put that. Okay, I want to replace with this. Okay, this is what I want to replace with what? With nothing. So I just copied it from the CSV file, because when we export it from CSV to kind of the Excel, it's throwing error. So this is the first step I have done, and I'm going to add an encoding code here, which is when I'm opening the file I will say encoding. Okay, and we are going to just add it called UTF-8. Okay, this is the default encoding for CSV. So this is done. Let's go ahead and delete the file again, and because right now it's going to create the same file, so it's better to delete it. And let's go and let's check. Okay, it has added the file again. Cool. Right now I don't see that INR sign, which is great. Let's go ahead and close the Excel file, and let's open the Excel file again. Okay, let's open it in Excels. Don't save it. Let's open it in Excel, data CSV, rebellion finders, and we will open in Excels. So this is going to give the data and properly formatted, you can see. Okay, so properly formatted and super clean data. Okay, before I save the data here, I can go ahead and do it. So what I'll need to do is that I will simply use a if else logic. So I will say, let me just do one by one. Okay, let's do it for a hotel name, and let's do it after this hotel name. Okay, so we're going to say hotel name. If this hotel name is found, then hotel name, else we're going to say NA. Okay, so same way we are going to do with the locations. Okay, so we're going to, now you can use the variable because the variable is created. So you can say locations if and locations. Okay, else NA. Okay, now this is one way you say it. If you want to say it different way, I will show you. If maybe you are getting confused with if comprehension, then you can say it this way. If like the price, if this price is found, okay, then what you want in return is the price. Else what you want, oops, else what you want. Okay, so else, let's say you want kind of else logic, oops, and then you say NA. Okay, so this is what we are doing intentionally. Okay, so if price, then price, sorry, else, we say else. Okay, so this is what we're doing, which in the short form. So in the short form, you first write the condition, then you say if, then you say what you want to return if it is true, and then you say else, right? This is what. Again, I'll just keep it this one as well also. You can just for learning purposes. Okay, so we're going to say rating, and we say if rating is found, then I would want, oops, I need to say if rating is found. So we read it this way: if rating is found, then what I want is rating, else I would say NA. Okay, whatever you want to give it. Same way I would say if, okay, this not is if, but I would say if score is found, then score, else NA. Okay, why this is important? Because this is going to ensure if in case one price is missing or anything is missing in one from one column, it's not going to throw an error, it's just going to import the empty. Okay, so let's do it this with as well. So we will say a review, and we're going to say if review, then review, else we're going to say NA. Okay, then I'm going to say if link, not if but link, if link, else, which is called NA. Okay, so everything is perfectly done. Let's just go ahead and clean this entire applications, and then we're going to convert it into a functions. Okay, that's the main goal. So let's go ahead and test it again. I will just delete it, and I will just go ahead and run it again in terminal, and let's see if in case it is getting the data. So this has thrown error right now, maybe because of the if logic. So let's kind of close it, and let's again run in terminal. Okay, it is still throwing an error with this, which is called a rating. So rating is what causing the issue. So it's not the problem. Okay, it's the problem with the website is not handling the request. That's the only issue I see. So I don't think here we have any problem. Okay, if ratings, else rating, else NA. So it's the same code. So again, we can just send the request after 1 or 2 minutes. You will see that it's going to go through. Okay, if you see, right, it's, I did not make any chance, right, but it did work well, and I got the data. Okay, so sometime even if you're getting error, there is no syntax error, there is a possibility that a website doesn't handle multiple requests, so you need to wait some time. Okay, so for that, again, I can implement some delay, which I will be doing when I will be creating this as a function. So, okay, so everything is done. Now we have tested, everything is working. You can test it with the new. Now let's go ahead and convert this function. So somebody is going to run this, and it's going to ask the URL and maybe the file name, and they will be giving both the things, and then it's going to be converted and stored the file. Okay, so what we will do is that we will need to deal from here when we have headers, response, request, right? So we need to start dealing from here. Okay, so let's go and let's define a functions called def and web scraper 2. I'm just going to give it a name called web scraper 2. We can give it web scraper 1 as well, and I will say my functions take two things, two parameters. One is called URL. Okay, and so I'll just give it called web URL. Okay, and the file name. These are the two parameters somebody would need to provide as soon as they call the functions. Okay, now if you see, I have kept these two things outside. So again, we need to ensure that we can keep this header inside the functions. Okay, so here I will just keep the headers. You can keep it outside as well, it's not again mandatory, and everything else that you see, everything must be inside the functions. So I'll just put everything one indentations to inside the functions. Okay, everything is inside the functions. Okay, so here as soon as somebody call this function, they should see a greetings. So the greeting would be somewhere here. Okay, so I would go ahead and not here, but the greeting should be here. Okay, so let's give the greetings, and let's print a message call. So thank you for sharing the URL and file name. Okay, and I like to kind of make it interesting, so I would just make a new line, and I'm going to get an emoji which is called timer load emoji. So let me just get the emoji, and here I'm going to say loading the starting, or you can say anything you want to say, right? We can say starting the web scraping, starting the web scraping. Okay, so here starting the web scraping, I would want to end in new line. Now I would give some delay after this. It should make the process little delay just to make it interesting. Okay, so here what you need to do is that you need to use a library called time. So you can say import time. Okay, so here I will say, okay, after this message they should be getting like 5 or 3 seconds delay. So I would say time dot sleep. Okay, so the user will think, okay, it is kind of processing, okay, something like this. So I would say sleep for how many seconds, let's say 5 seconds. Okay, and this is done. So we are saying processing, starting the web scraping or processing this web scraping. We can say something like more meaningful, reading the content. Okay, reading the content or accessing the content, whatever you want to keep it, right? So reading the content, right? So or accessing the content, whatever you feel more kind of interesting. I'm not getting any word, but I think this is what I will be using it. So then it's going to delay it for 5 seconds. Now if you do not want this 5 second, you can make it random, like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. So for that you need to again use one more module, which is called random import random. Okay, and then you can create a random number outside, so it is called num equals a num variable random dot rand int. Okay, and you say that we want a number from 1 to kind of 3 to kind of 7 second, and then we use this num instead of using it 5. So it's going to delay it for a randoms every time they process it. Okay, so now we just need to make some more adjustment. So if somebody call it, they're going to, this function is going to ask these two things, right? So we need to pass this to is the input. Okay, now if somebody is going to use this Python as a direct code, and then it is going to kind of ask this as an input. If in case somebody is just importing it as a module, then they need to just give it while calling the functions. Okay, so for this I would just need to define 1 or 2 line of code and input a parameters, because if somebody is going to use directly code, then input parameters I need to define. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that, and I think everything else is perfectly fine. So we will just do here call if in this script directly. Okay, then below task will be executed, just some comment. Okay, not mandatory. So you can say if, and you need to say name. Okay, equals and we need to say main. Okay, so this is just additional, you can say a line of code that it's a mandatory, you need to give it if in case you wanna give it. If you do not give it, then again there will be a problem if somebody is going to import this. Everything is going to get in kind of executed. So we do not want to give them, right? They would not see that the options to add the URL. Okay, so what we will do is that we are going to say, okay, if somebody is calling it, then what I want to do. So here I would go ahead and first of all take an input which is called in please enter URL. So they would enter the URL first. Okay, so once they enter the URL, then I would go ahead and take one more input called please give file name. Okay, so they are going to enter file name and they're going to enter URL. Okay, so these two things they have given. Oops, I think I just want a colon here. Okay, just to make the prompt little professional. Okay, so this is done. Now I would just need to save this in some variable. Maybe I will just call it URL. Okay, and I will just go ahead and call it maybe file name. Okay, so I will just name it called file name, and I will say call URL. We can just give the same name that you have given in functions. Again, it's not mandatory. Now I will need to call the functions, right? The main task. So I will say calling the functions, because if somebody is going to run this code, it's not nothing is going to call the functions, right? So we need to call the functions here right now. So the import and calling is different. So if somebody is going to run these functions, if the Python sees this, it's not going to do anything until unless we run it here called calling the function. So to calling the functions, we need to simply say what is the function's name. So web scraper 2, and here I give these two parameters. One is called URL, so that it's going to ask the URL, and then I give this file name. Okay, so this is the things that we want to do. That's it. Now this is going to call the functions. This is going to kind of ask the URL. Okay, so as soon as the function is being called, then it is going to kind of start it, right? So let's go ahead and kind of just add this file name in this instead of kind of giving the random file name. So I would just go ahead and say file name, and I will just keep the CSV. Okay, because people will forget to add the CSV. So file name, whatever the people file name they give, the file is being created accordingly. Okay, so this is fine. Let's go ahead and try it if in case everything is going to work or not. Let's see. First clear it out everything. And so we have done everything right now. Again, you can go through everything, the code step by step. So let's go ahead and say run in terminal, and it's giving asking the URL. So let's go ahead and get the URL, which will be already in this file. For now we will test the different URL in some time. So let's first use this URL. Okay, this is the URL I'm going to use it. Now if you see, everything is dependent on this, and here I think I did not change the URL. Let me see. So here in HTML content, text URL, okay, URL text, okay, URL text, what we are using it in the response. So here instead of URL text, we would need to use the functions, this web URL, right? Correct. And I will just comment it out because the job for this is done. Okay, even if I delete it, it's going to work. Okay, so this is done because this URL what our functions want to use, right? And this is collecting from the kind of the users when somebody is calling the function. And file name, so file name, let's check. So file name is this file name, right? This file name, it's the same, and we have given the same name in defining the functions, which will be this file name. Okay, so I think everything is done. This file name we have given, and csv dot file name, yeah, everything is perfect. Let's go ahead and test it, right? Oh, right click, run in terminal. Okay, I did run it earlier. Let's get the URL again. I think I copied the URL. No, it's as a file name. So let's go and let's copy this URL properly, and file name going to be called b1, something like random name. Okay, hit enters. If you see, thank you starting the URL and the file name. So we got some error, but it got kind of did not got anything. So let's try it again. Okay, so let's try it again. It's a common error as I said, because sometimes the response may get a fail. Run in terminal, let's get the file name, hit enters, enter file name called b3. Okay, thank you for sharing the URL and the file name, reading the content, and it is loading. If you see it here, so it is again throwing error for the same for the rating sections. Okay, and everything else is fine. I think it's only the issues with the rating. Model in 123 web scale URL file name. So I think some issues with the file name. What do we have? Let's go ahead and kind of first check if in case what is the issue we have with the file name. Okay, okay, we got the file name from the users reporting while calling the functions, and I'm going to call it maybe something else. Okay, let's go ahead and say f name. Okay, let's keep it like this way, f name, so that this f name is user is going to enter, and we're going to use this f name while we are opening this CSV file. Okay, okay, I see the problem. One problem is that here I need to pass it as a variable. Okay, this is the one thing, and let's see what else. Yeah, yes, if you see right now it is sorted. So I did not pass it as a variable, I did pass it as a string, so it's not going to get the actual file, but it's just going to return the file name. Okay, which we do not want, we want the actual file name. So as a file csv, everything looks fine. That's the reason it was not highlighted earlier. And okay, fn we are getting and putting it inside the file name. While calling the functions, you can put it here. So URL, we are putting it in here. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and now run in terminal. So enter the URL. So let's get the URL again. I will just copy from here to the last, enter as a URL, File name I'm just going to call f2. Okay, reading the file, let's see if it is going to kind of scrap the data. So we're waiting. Perfect. And if you see it has scrapped the data, f2.csv and web scrap done. Again, you can make it more interesting. You can add some more emoji here. So I will just show you f2, and if you see, it has scraped the data up to 26 hotels, and we can view it in Excel file, and you will see that everything is properly formatted. Let's check. Perfect. Okay, so here we have f2, here we have the hotel name. Let's check quickly. We have the hotel name, we have the locality, which is here. Okay, and we have the price, right? We have the score, we have the view, and what else? We have the link, right? So interestingly, the link is also working. I believe the first hotel is for Pride Plaza. Let's go ahead and check if in case we have the hotel working or not. Okay, so let's open it, and Pride Plaza. Okay, so this is perfect. Now let's go ahead and kind of use these functions for another, right? So I will just go ahead and kind of save this code so that I do not lose my work, and I will just maybe name it call web scraper YT. Okay, because this is I have just built in front of you, and cool. So let me just clear everything out. Let's get a new data. Okay, so for new city, let's say if in case it's going to work or not, but maybe sometimes it's possible that it's not going to work. Let's try with Mumbai. Okay, so Mumbai, and 1 to 2 April. Let's click on search. Okay, so we have it something like this. Let's copy it, and let's say if in case I get the file working or not. So I will just right click and say run in terminal, and I will just store the second URL for Mumbai. Okay, here just for you can practice it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it terminal, and let's see if in case it is asking for the URL. Let's give it for Mumbai URL, hit enters, and let's say Mumbai f1. Okay, this is the name I'm giving. Thank you for the URL, file name, reading the content, and we are waiting. So again, it's going to take some time. Okay, it did a given error, but we got the file, which is f1. Let's see. So it only got 3 hotels for Mumbai, and 2 hotels for Mumbai. Okay, so because again it is throwing error with this rating. So again, what I can do is that we can run it again to check if in case it's going to work in the second time. Enter URL, entered, and file name is going to be Mumbai 3. Okay, this time Mumbai 3. Let's see if in case it doesn't throw an error. So it's going to give us the 100%, all the 26 or 25 or whatever the hotels is accessible. We got it for f3 also. Unluckily we got it too. Let's try it again. Okay, let's clear the terminal and wait for a few seconds, because as I said, multiple requests if you send, so that is a possibility it's not going to give you the right result, though even there is no mistake in our code. Okay, I'll not say mistake, but maybe the HTML tag would have entered correctly. So just we have have patience and try 2 or 3 or 5 times. It's definitely going to work. Let's try again with the Mumbai URL, or I will try with other city. It enters. So Mumbai 4, I will name it called Mumbai 4. Okay, let's wait. Okay, it is doing something. Okay, so no error this time in the third try. Web scrape done, and connected to database. If you see, it says reading the content, connected to the website. Web scrape done, and yeah, right now Mumbai 4 was the file name I have given. If you see it here in this parameters, and this earlier is the URL. Let's go ahead and kind of check it. So how many hotels we have? Amazing, right? So we are having 26 hotels and the informations. Now interesting thing is that if you see, this function is kind of it takes a different URL, and you are getting the result, right? So you give a city, it takes go through the things, and you get the proper clean formatted, right? If you want to view it and can reveal it in here, and we can just go ahead and check, which is Mumbai 4, right? Let's open it in Excels. Okay, so if you see from Mumbai, we got the clean the data, the hotel names, which is here, the locality, and if you see, these are the Mumbai hotels, the top hotels, the price, and again if you see the rating, the scores, reviews, and the link, right? So You can again do some testing for different dates. Now again, as I said, with the times there is a possibility that this tag may get changed, but again just follow the same steps. Okay, I will just show you if in case somebody need to use this in a Jupyter notebook, how they're going to use it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and see what is the name I have given. Oops. So let's just go ahead and see. Okay, web scraper YT, this is the name I have given. Okay, if I need to use it in a Jupyter notebook, I will just open a Jupyter notebook. I will say test.ipynb, and here I will just go ahead and kind of select print test. Okay, hit enter. So it's going to kind of do the activations for Jupyter notebook, and we select the environment. Okay, this is done. Okay, so now I would just need to import the modules because they are in the same home directory. So I would just go ahead and say import web scraper 2. Okay, this is done. It's going to import the web scraper, installing the Jupyter extension. So once this is done, should be able to see the hello world test. Yeah, okay, it is imported. Now I will just need to use this import and this, which is called the function web scraper 2. Okay, now if you're using in Jupyter notebook, let me just close all this thing outside. Okay, if you're using in the Jupyter notebook, you need to pass the you know these parameters here only while calling this functions from this module, which is called web scraper YT. Okay, the function name was web scraper 2. Okay, so here you need to pass the URL at the same time because it's not going to give you the options to enter it, right? It's only going to give the enter if you in case you are running that file directly in the terminal. That's the reason we have defined this two lines that you have seen in the end, which is going to be, where is it, these two lines. Okay, the last two lines that we have defined. If name equals means, that means if somebody is calling this, then only this things is going to be executed, otherwise it's not going to be executed. So that means it's not going to know, okay, what is the URL and the file name. When without that, the application is not going to work. So here we're going to pass the URL again. So I will just go ahead and get a new URL, or maybe I will just get the same URL from here. Okay, and let's say for Bangalore, let's get a new URL. Let's do testing for new, right? Let's get a Bangalore URL, and let's say if in case we are getting the data. Okay, again, as I said, you may get error for 1 or 2 times, but you are going to intentionally get the error, get the data. So pass the Bangalore URL, and then we need to pass one more, which is called the file name. So we will say bg, and we will say bgf1. Okay, so let's hit enter, shift enter, and if you see reading the file, and URL and file names are reading the content. So we should be having a new name here as soon as it is done. Okay, connected to the website, web scrap done. Okay, let's go ahead and see how many hotels we got for Bengaluru BGF1. Okay, wow, amazing. So we're getting again 26 hotels, and if you see, these hotels are different. And if you want to view it, so right click in finders, and we can say open in Excel, right? If you want to do in Excels. So we have the data, and if you see the locations also Bengaluru and different locality, the price are also different. Now I hope you understood what is the importance of web scraping, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video till here, and if you really enjoyed this video, I would request you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Instagram. Have a good day, take care, bye bye.